The night sky had always been full of questions. People on Earth looked at the stars and wondered what waited beyond them. Some dreamed of strange planets, others imagined hidden civilizations, but most believed the universe was simply too vast for contact to ever happen. Yet one ordinary day, a small machine changed everything. The deep space probe named Aurora had been launched years ago. It carried a few instruments, a few cameras, and a simple mission, to keep moving forward and send back whatever it found. Most scientists expected nothing more than silence, perhaps the faint whisper of distant starlight. But after crossing the edge of the solar system, Aurora caught something no one had prepared for. At first, it seemed like background noise, the usual hum of space. But as the data was filtered, the lines of sound began to repeat. Not random. Not natural. The signal had a rhythm, like a song played by an unseen hand. The team at the ground station stared at the screen in disbelief. "Check the calibration," one scientist said. "It is not an error," replied another. "Look at the sequence. It is repeating." The pattern carried structure, numbers, and shapes that no natural event could produce. It was not the voice of a star or the echo of a planet. It was a beacon. Someone out there was speaking, waiting to be heard. News spread quickly across Earth. At first, governments tried to keep it quiet, but secrets of this size never stayed hidden for long. Soon, every headline shouted the same words: "Signal from deep space confirmed." The world expected panic, but something different happened. Instead of fear, excitement swept across every corner of the planet. Students gathered in classrooms to watch broadcasts. Families crowded around televisions. Children drew pictures of starships and imagined what alien friends might look like. For once, humanity was united by a common wonder. Within months, plans were made to follow the signal. The beacon pointed to a region far beyond the solar system, a place no human had ever reached. The world built a ship not for war but for exploration. It was named Odyssey. The crew was carefully chosen. Scientists, engineers, pilots, and explorers all were ready to face the unknown. They trained for long months, studying navigation, emergency repairs, and new methods of survival in deep space. Yet what set them apart was not their skills but their spirit. Every member of the crew carried the same fire of curiosity that had driven humankind for centuries. On the day of launch, millions gathered to watch. The ship stood tall on the platform, its silver frame shining in the sunlight. Flags from every nation waved side by side, not in competition but in unity. The captain of the mission, a calm man named Ryan, gave the final words before departure. "Today we follow a voice from the stars," he said. "We do not know who sent it, or why, but we go not with fear. We go with hope." Cheers erupted across the world as the Odyssey rose into the sky. Flames lit the ground, engines roared, and the vessel carried the hopes of an entire species into the unknown. The journey was long. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The crew filled the silence of space with work, laughter, and stories of home. They studied the stars, charted new paths, and checked their instruments again and again. Each passing moment drew them closer to the signal. Finally, the day came. The ship's scanners lit up with energy unlike anything seen before. The beacon grew louder, stronger, until the very air inside the cabin seemed to hum with its call. "Coordinates locked," said the navigator. "Prepare for arrival," Ryan answered. The Odyssey slid through space, guided by the mysterious voice. The stars around them shifted, and then, without warning, the ship broke through into a region that none of them could have imagined. It was not empty. It was alive. Before them stretched vast structures, each the size of cities. Ships of every shape and size drifted across the sky. Some looked like floating towers, others like giant wings of light. The void between stars was filled with color, as though the universe itself had been painted by unseen hands. The crew stared in awe. "Is this a civilization?" whispered one of the scientists. Ryan's eyes remained steady. "It seems we are not alone." No one panicked. No one cried out in fear. The crew simply watched, calm and alert, as though they had always expected this moment to come. Humanity had taken a step into a galactic empire, though none of them yet knew its name. The beacon had led them here, and Earth's children had answered. The galaxy would soon discover something unexpected. Humans had arrived, and they did not even blink. The Odyssey floated through the colorful expanse of the new galaxy. The crew pressed close to the windows, eyes wide with awe. Strange lights danced across the void, and massive ships moved gracefully like giant creatures of the sky. The humans had expected alien worlds, but this sight was far beyond imagination. The sensors on the ship began to pick up transmissions. A language unknown to humans filled the screens. Patterns of signals flashed rapidly, exchanging information between vessels and stations. Each signal carried authority and confidence. The humans realized they had entered the heart of a civilization far older than Earth. "Captain, there are dozens of ships approaching," said Lyra, the navigator. Her voice was calm but excited. "They seem to be watching us." Ryan looked out at the approaching vessels. They were sleek and metallic, with shapes that bent light in strange ways. Some had long extensions like wings, others looked like floating spheres, all moving with perfect coordination. "They are curious," Ryan said. "Prepare a greeting. We do not know if they are friendly, but we must be cautious and polite." The crew gathered in the communication room. With careful hands, they opened a universal transmission channel. The first message they sent was simple: "Earth greets you. We come in peace." The response came almost immediately. A deep, resonant voice filled the cabin. It was not just one speaker. It sounded like many voices speaking together, layered like music. The message was formal and precise. "Identify yourselves and state your purpose. This region is under the protection of the Galactic Empire." The words startled the crew only slightly. They were not used to authority on this scale, but they had been trained for the unknown. "We are humans from Earth," Ryan said steadily. "We followed a signal that led us here. We mean no harm. We wish only to learn and explore." There was a pause. Then a series of lights blinked across the view screen. The ships moved in formation, circling the Odyssey like giant birds of prey. Yet there was no attack. It was as if the aliens were trying to understand the humans' reaction before deciding what to do next. "What do you think they want?" asked Myra, the science officer. "They want to see if we are dangerous," Ryan answered. "They expect fear. Let's give them calm instead." For hours, the humans communicated. They shared images of Earth, pictures of oceans, mountains, and cities. They described life on their planet, their people, and their culture. The alien fleet listened silently, though their movements suggested careful observation. Finally, one of the alien ships moved closer. It was enormous, bigger than the Odyssey by hundreds of times. A docking platform extended, and a small team of aliens entered the human ship. The crew held their breath as the visitors appeared. They were tall and thin, with shimmering skin and large, expressive eyes. Their presence was commanding, but they did not show immediate hostility. "I am VR, envoy of the Galactic Empire," the tallest alien said. "You arrived without warning. Most species would flee or hide. Why do you not fear us?" Ryan stepped forward. "We are explorers. Fear does not guide us. Curiosity does. We want to understand, not to fight." VR's eyes narrowed, studying him. "Curiosity is rare among new species. Most send messages, wait, and hope for protection. You came directly into the heart of the Empire. Boldness or foolishness? We will see which." The humans did not falter. They answered questions honestly, shared knowledge about their technology, and described their journey. The aliens listened, sometimes exchanging quick glances, clearly intrigued by the confidence of these small creatures from a distant planet. After several hours, VR nodded. You may remain in this sector. But know this, many who enter the Empire without caution do not leave. Your actions will be watched. The humans nodded respectfully. They understood the warning but were not intimidated. They had survived the journey across light years of empty space. A few ships of the Galactic Empire could not shake their resolve. When the alien envoys left, the crew gathered again. We made it through the first encounter, said Lyra, her voice soft with relief. And we did it without panic or hesitation. Good, Ryan said. Now we learn. Watch, listen, and take notes. This is just the beginning. We are in the Empire, and our story has just started. Outside the ship, the galaxy continued to hum with life. The humans watched alien freighters glide past, massive stations float like stars, and trading ships exchange goods in silent orbits. It was a world of precision, power, and history, far older than Earth. Yet the humans did not flinch. They moved with curiosity and courage, not arrogance, but with a quiet confidence that unsettled and fascinated the Empire. The crew of the Odyssey realized something important: the galaxy had expected fear, but it had met calm. It had expected hesitation, but it had met boldness. And for the first time, the humans felt that maybe they were not just visitors. Maybe they had already begun to belong. The stars around them glowed a little brighter, as if welcoming humanity to a stage they had never known. The Empire had noticed the new species, and they would remember their first encounter. Humans had arrived in the heart of the Galactic Empire, and they did not even blink. The Galactic Empire had seen many species rise and fall. Some arrived with courage, some with arrogance, and some with only fear in their hearts. None had stepped directly into the Empire with calm confidence. The humans were different. In a massive council chamber aboard a floating palace, the leaders of the Empire gathered. High above the stars, the room shimmered with light that seemed alive. Representatives of dozens of worlds sat in circles, their forms varied and strange. Some had wings, some glowed faintly, and some had shapes that humans could not even describe. This is unprecedented, said one of the council members, her voice like wind over crystal. A species from a distant planet has entered our territory without fear. Most species send ambassadors or messages. These humans came on their own. Another, taller and with multiple eyes, added, we have observed them. They do not panic. They do not beg. They respond calmly, even to our warnings. Are they dangerous, or are they merely untested? A third spoke slowly, each word carrying weight. Danger is measured in many ways. Strength alone is not enough. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are equally important. Humans display all three. The discussion continued, and the council debated what action to take. Some feared that humans could upset the balance of power. If a new species moved so boldly within the Empire, other civilizations might follow, thinking resistance was unnecessary. One council member shook his head. We must observe. We must understand. Punishment is too early, and welcome is too quick. They are unusual. We cannot ignore them, yet we cannot underestimate them. Meanwhile, aboard the Odyssey, the humans continued their exploration. They visited massive stations where goods and ideas were traded. They watched alien engineers construct immense ships that moved without engines, and scientists experimented with energy that humans had only dreamed of. Despite the complexity around them, the humans remained calm and focused. They asked questions politely, offered small gifts from Earth, and shared knowledge about their own technology. The aliens noticed the difference. These humans did not bow or hesitate. They treated everyone as equals, and yet they were careful not to offend. Back in the council, the debate continued. Perhaps they are curious, one representative said. Curiosity is dangerous. A species that seeks knowledge may find ways to challenge us without ever intending war. Another countered, or perhaps they are the spark we need. Our empire has grown cautious, predictable, and slow. They move boldly where others hesitate. If we learn from them, we may gain insight into new ways of thinking. VR, the envoy who had first greeted the humans, remained silent for a long time. He had followed the humans closely, studying every reaction, every movement. I have observed them, he finally said. They are not reckless. They do not fear. They do not crave power. They simply seek to understand. That alone sets them apart. The council fell into quiet consideration. Every representative knew that the humans could not be ignored. They were clever, brave, and unpredictable. They had entered the empire on their own terms, and no amount of protocol or warning had shaken them. Back on the Odyssey, the crew prepared for their next steps. They had learned that the empire was vast and complex. Each encounter required careful thought, yet they were not intimidated. They approached each challenge as an opportunity, not a threat. Captain Ryan stood on the bridge, looking at the swirling stars and massive stations. We are being watched, he said to the crew. And that is good. The galaxy needs to see that we are not afraid. We move forward with respect, but we do not bow to fear. The crew nodded. They understood that the humans had a different way of seeing the universe. Where others expected danger, they saw opportunity. Where others expected control, they saw collaboration. That perspective was rare, and it was what kept them alive and growing. In the council chamber, the decision was finally made. The humans would be allowed to continue their journey, but under observation. They were to be studied, not hindered. The council wanted to see how far this species could go, what they could achieve, and what lessons they could teach the empire itself. And so, the humans moved freely, exploring new stations, observing alien technology, and learning about worlds far beyond Earth. Every step they took was careful but bold, every question polite but probing. They did not fear the empire, nor did they seek to conquer it. They simply existed with confidence, and that was more remarkable than anyone had expected. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire had encountered a species that could not be easily measured by strength, numbers, or history. The humans had arrived, calm and steady, and the galaxy would soon learn that bravery and curiosity were as powerful as any weapon. The council watched, waited, and wondered. Humans had entered the empire, and they did not even blink. The humans had grown accustomed to the beauty and complexity of the Galactic Empire. Massive stations floated between stars, trading ships moved in silent precision, and alien cities shimmered like jewels in the darkness. Yet the humans knew that admiration alone would not earn respect. In this galaxy, strength mattered as much as curiosity. It was a quiet morning aboard the Odyssey when alarms suddenly rang. Sensors showed several alien warships closing in, their designs sharp and threatening. The crew froze for a moment, scanning the approaching fleet. Unlike previous encounters, these ships did not signal peace. They were here to test the newcomers. They are not here to greet us, said Lyra, the navigator, her voice steady despite the tension. They want to see how we react. Ryan nodded, his expression calm. We expected this. Prepare shields and scanners. We do not flee, but we do not act without reason. The attacking fleet moved closer, forming a circle around the Odyssey. Beams of energy flared as warnings shot past the ship. The humans could have panicked, as many species would, but they held their ground. Focus on strategy, Ryan said. We are not here to fight, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. The crew quickly organized. Engineers monitored the energy shields, adjusting output to protect the hull. Pilots calculated trajectories to evade potential strikes. Scientists analyzed the weapons being used, searching for patterns and weaknesses. Every human acted as a team, coordinated and precise. The alien ships opened fire, not with intent to destroy, but to test limits. Beams of light struck near the Odyssey, sending vibrations through the hull. The humans moved calmly, avoiding panic. They deployed small countermeasures, shifting their position with smooth and efficient maneuvers. Each action surprised the attackers. "Why do they not panic?" one of the alien captains asked. His voice trembled with confusion. "Most species would flee. Most would beg for mercy." "They are different," another replied. "Observe closely. They are calculating, but they do not fear." Hours passed, and the humans responded to every challenge without aggression. They did not strike first, but they skillfully disabled some of the attacking drones, neutralizing them without harm to the crews. Their calm confidence and precise teamwork baffled the Empire's fleet. Finally, the lead ship signaled a halt. The aliens floated silently, observing. The humans had passed the test. They had shown that courage, intelligence, and coordination could match even overwhelming force. Ryan addressed the approaching ships. "We did not come to fight. We came to explore. We defended ourselves because it was necessary, but we seek peace, not war." VR, the envoy who had first welcomed them, appeared on the communication screen. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, seemed to study every detail of the humans' response. "You are unlike any species we have encountered. Others would break under pressure. You held calm and reason. The Empire is surprised by your strength." The humans smiled politely. They were proud of their teamwork, but they did not boast. They had faced a test, and they had passed. More importantly, they had done so without arrogance. After the encounter, the Odyssey continued to explore the Empire's sector. Stations that had once seemed intimidating now appeared as opportunities to learn. Alien traders approached with cautious curiosity, willing to share information with a species that had proven both clever and fearless. On one station, humans observed the construction of an immense warship. The engineers worked with precision, lifting massive pieces of metal with energy fields and assembling them faster than the humans thought possible. Yet, instead of feeling small, the humans asked questions, recorded data, and learned new techniques. Captain Ryan addressed the crew. "Today we showed that humans are not easily shaken. We proved that we can meet challenge with intelligence, not panic. Remember this. Confidence and teamwork are as powerful as any weapon." The crew nodded, feeling a quiet pride. They realized that the Empire had expected fear, hesitation, or perhaps submission. Instead, it had received calm, reason, and courage. This was the essence of humanity, a species small in size, but large in spirit. Outside the ship, the galaxy continued its motion. Alien freighters floated past, glowing softly against the dark expanse. Massive stations rotated slowly, and distant planets glimmered with life. Humans had proven that they could step into this vast empire without faltering. Back in the council chamber, the representatives of the Empire discussed the humans' actions. "They passed the test," one said. "They are clever, bold, and coordinated. Their species cannot be underestimated." VR agreed. "Their approach is unlike any we have observed. Strength, yes, but also calmness, teamwork, and a clear mind. The humans are unpredictable in a way that commands respect." The council decided that the humans would continue their exploration. The Empire would monitor them, but no further attacks would be staged. Humanity had shown that fear was not part of their nature. Their courage and intelligence had earned them a place among the observers of the galaxy. As the Odyssey sailed further into the Empire, the crew reflected on what had happened. They had faced a test that could have ended badly for others, but humans had remained composed and resourceful. Their reputation had begun to grow. The stars outside seemed to shine a little brighter. The humans had stepped into a galaxy of immense power and had met its first challenge with skill and calm. And still, they did not blink. The Odyssey moved through the heart of the Galactic Empire, past massive space stations and vast trade routes. The crew had faced tests of courage and strength, but now they discovered something even more powerful: knowledge. Every station they visited held wonders. Alien engineers worked with energy and materials that humans had never imagined. Cities floated in space, filled with towers that reflected light in shifting patterns. Scientific laboratories produced energy sources that could power entire planets. Humans watched and learned, not with envy, but with curiosity and respect. Lyra, the navigator, moved carefully through a laboratory on one of the larger stations. She studied devices that could store vast amounts of energy in tiny crystals. Her mind raced with ideas about how similar technology could improve life on Earth. Every question she asked was met with patient explanation, though the alien scientists often looked surprised at her simple but clever thinking. "This is incredible," she whispered to herself. "We can learn so much here." Meanwhile, Captain Ryan spoke with VR, the Empire's envoy. "We are amazed by your technology," he said. "But what interests us most is how you think. You solve problems in ways that are different from anything we have seen." VR studied him. "Your curiosity is unusual. Most species accept what they are given. They rarely ask why or how. You do not simply follow instructions. You explore, question, and imagine. That is a rare quality in the Empire." The humans did not come to dominate or take. They came to understand. They asked about energy generation, transportation, medicine, and exploration. In return, the aliens began to explain methods that had been secrets for centuries. Slowly, the humans shared some of their own ideas from Earth: new ways to store energy, designs for efficient engines, and methods to solve problems quickly with teamwork. Other species began to notice. Traders who had once ignored Earthlings now approached politely. Scientists paused their work to watch humans perform experiments. Engineers offered small collaborations, curious about the human approach to learning. In one laboratory, Myra, the science officer, observed a process that purified water using a form of energy humans did not yet understand. Instead of simply recording it, she asked why the method worked and tested variations to see what would happen. The alien scientists watched in surprise as her questions led to a small improvement in efficiency. "This is remarkable," VR said later. "Your species does not follow limits. You see potential where others see rules. That is the true power of your curiosity." Humans began forming friendships. They shared meals, exchanged simple stories about Earth, and listened to tales of distant worlds. While the Empire had grown cautious and careful over centuries, humans treated every encounter as a chance to learn and connect. They were small in number, but their presence left an impression on everyone they met. Back on the Odyssey, the crew gathered in the common area. "We are changing the way the Empire sees us," Ryan said. "We do not fight or command. We observe, we learn, and we share. That is why they respect us." Lyra added, "And we are learning so much. Every station, every laboratory, every city has something new to teach us. The Empire is old, but it is not complete. They have knowledge, but we have fresh ideas." Ryan nodded. "Exactly. Humans are powerful not because of weapons or numbers, but because we are willing to ask questions and take risks with our minds. That is why we can make a difference here." Even the Council of the Empire continued to watch. The humans' curiosity had changed how they were perceived. They were no longer just visitors or intruders. They were seen as a spark of innovation in a galaxy that had grown predictable. "Curiosity combined with courage is dangerous," one council member said quietly. "It can change the course of entire civilizations. These humans are small, but they have something we have not seen in centuries." The humans themselves were unaware of the full impact they had. They explored each station, learned new skills, and solved problems that had puzzled the Empire's scientists. They shared ideas without claiming superiority, and they earned respect without seeking it. As the Odyssey prepared to leave the sector, Ryan addressed the crew. "We have done more than survive. We have shown that humans can be bold and clever at the same time. We have made friends, learned secrets, and left an impression. This is how we grow in the galaxy, with curiosity, respect, and courage." The crew smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. They had traveled across light years, entered the heart of an empire, faced tests of strength, and now, through curiosity, they were beginning to influence the galaxy. Outside the ship, stars glimmered as if celebrating humanity's achievements. The Empire had learned that humans did not simply follow rules. They questioned, they explored, and they imagined. They were not just visitors. They were a new force of thought in the galaxy. And through it all, the humans did not blink. The Galactic Empire had watched the humans carefully for months. Every movement, every decision, every question had been noted. Across council chambers and observation posts, debates grew heated. The humans were different from any species the Empire had encountered. They did not fear, they did not bow, and yet they earned respect through their curiosity and courage. Some council members argued that humans could be a threat. "They act without fear and without precedent," one said. "They may grow too bold. Their ideas could upset the balance we have maintained for centuries. We cannot allow them too much freedom." Others disagreed. "They do not seek power," another member replied. "They bring knowledge, fresh perspective, and problem-solving ability. Their presence could inspire growth, innovation, and cooperation. Perhaps they are the spark we have been waiting for." VR, the envoy who had first greeted the humans, remained silent during much of the discussion. His observations had convinced him that the humans were neither reckless nor weak. They face challenges calmly, they learn quickly, and they adapt, he finally said. "They are unpredictable, yes, but not dangerous. They do not attack, yet they influence everything they touch." The council fell silent, considering his words. The humans had arrived unexpectedly and had already passed every test of courage, intelligence, and teamwork. The Empire could not deny their abilities. What remained was a choice: restrict them, or embrace them. Meanwhile, aboard the Odyssey, the humans continued their exploration. They visited planets filled with strange flora and fauna, stations with technologies far beyond Earth's imagination, and cities where energy flowed like liquid light. Every encounter taught them something new, and they shared their discoveries with one another. Captain Ryan addressed the crew. "We are being observed," he said. "The Empire is deciding what to do with us. Our actions now matter more than ever. We must continue with respect, curiosity, and courage. That is our strength." Lyra nodded. "We have learned so much, and we continue to learn. But we also show them who we are. That is why they are watching. They see what humans can do when we act without fear." The humans did not seek approval. They did not demand attention. They simply explored, asked questions, and solved problems. Yet their presence was changing the Empire. Alien scientists and engineers began to collaborate with them. Traders offered new alliances. Even military officers, who had once tested the humans with simulated attacks, now observed them with curiosity and respect. Back in the council chamber, the debate reached its peak. One member slammed their clawed hand on the table. "We cannot underestimate them. If we restrict them, we may anger them. If we allow them freedom, they may influence others. They are small, yet their presence is powerful." VR spoke again. "They are not rulers or conquerors. They are thinkers and learners. They do not manipulate or demand. They face challenges directly and inspire others by example. That is why they should remain free to explore." Freedom will show the true strength of their species. The council finally reached a decision. The humans would not be restricted. They would be allowed to continue their exploration and interactions within the Empire. Every movement would still be observed, but there would be no interference. The decision was unprecedented. A new species, small and young compared to the vast empire, had earned the right to exist on their own terms. When the news reached the Odyssey, the crew celebrated quietly. They knew the road ahead would still be full of challenges, but for now, they had earned trust and respect. They had proven that humans could enter the heart of the galaxy without fear, and that courage, curiosity, and teamwork could command recognition even among the oldest and most powerful civilizations. Ryan spoke to the crew. We have not only survived, but we have also influenced the Empire in ways few species ever could. This is our strength. We move forward, not to control, but to learn, to share, and to grow. That is what it means to be human. The crew understood. They had faced tests of strength, challenges of diplomacy, and opportunities to learn. They had acted with courage, intelligence, and respect. They were not conquerors. They were explorers who inspired respect simply by being themselves. Outside the Odyssey, stars shimmered in endless patterns. Alien ships passed silently, some nodding in acknowledgement, some curious about the humans' next move. The galaxy was vast, full of secrets and challenges, yet humanity had proven it could meet them all. And in the hearts of the humans, there was no fear. They had stepped into the Empire boldly and had won trust through their actions. The galaxy watched, and for the first time, many realized that humans were not just a small species from a distant planet. They were a force of thought, courage, and curiosity, capable of shaping the future of worlds far beyond Earth. Humans had arrived in the Empire, fully recognized, and they did not even blink. The Odyssey glided through the stars of the Galactic Empire, its crew filled with a quiet sense of accomplishment. They had faced tests of courage, survived unexpected challenges, and earned the trust of an entire empire. Yet they knew their journey was only beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders, mysteries, and opportunities. Captain Ryan stood on the bridge, watching the colorful stations and ships passing by. "We have shown them who we are," he said softly. "Not through power, not through force, but through courage, curiosity, and respect. That is the human way." Lyra, the navigator, smiled. "We have learned so much, and they have learned from us too. It feels as if we are part of this galaxy already." Humans continued to visit planets, stations, and cities, sharing ideas, learning, and helping where they could. They discovered new forms of energy, assisted in designing efficient transport systems, and even helped solve problems that had puzzled alien scientists for generations. Every act was done carefully, politely, and with intelligence, showing that humans did not seek glory, only knowledge and understanding. The Galactic Empire watched closely. For centuries, its leaders had grown cautious and slow, following tradition and rules without question. The humans had brought something different, fresh ideas, bold curiosity, and the courage to act without fear. Slowly, the empire began to change. Alien scientists collaborated more openly, traders shared knowledge freely, and young species looked to humans as examples of confidence and ingenuity. Vyar, the envoy who had first greeted the humans, often spoke to the council. "This species is remarkable," he said. "They do not demand authority, yet they inspire it. They do not attack, yet they are respected. Their courage and curiosity bring life to our empire in ways we have not seen for centuries." The council members nodded, understanding that the humans had changed more than the hearts of individuals. They had brought a new perspective to the galaxy itself. On the Odyssey, Myra, the science officer, studied a new energy crystal with her usual focus. "These humans have a way of seeing solutions others overlook," she said. "It is not magic, not luck. It is their way of thinking, brave, curious, and persistent. Captain Ryan gathered the crew. "We have done more than explore," he said. "We have shown that humans can face any challenge and learn from it. That is the greatest power we have. Not weapons, not numbers, but the mind, the heart, and the courage to act. The galaxy now knows us, not as small creatures from a distant world, but as humans who can stand boldly in the stars." The crew smiled, understanding the truth of his words. They had crossed light years, entered the heart of a vast empire, faced challenges, and influenced a civilization far older than their own. They had arrived not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as equals who carried the spirit of Earth into the stars. Outside, alien ships continued their quiet paths through the galaxy. Some paused to observe the Odyssey, some offered greetings, and some simply allowed the humans to move freely. The Empire had given them trust, and the humans had earned it through action and example. Ryan looked out at a distant nebula, its colors shifting and swirling like a painting. "This is only the beginning," he said. "There is so much to learn, so many worlds to see, and so many people to meet. We are humans. We adapt, we explore, and we rise to every challenge." Lyra added, "And we will continue to do so, together." The Odyssey moved forward, carrying humans to new horizons. They would visit uncharted planets, meet species never before seen, and bring their spirit of courage and curiosity to every corner of the galaxy. The Empire had opened its doors, and humanity had stepped through without hesitation, earning respect not by force, but by character. In the heart of the Galactic Empire, a small species from a blue planet had become something more. Humans had shown that bravery and curiosity could match the greatest powers in the galaxy. They had taught the Empire that strength was not only measured in fleets or weapons, but in intelligence, teamwork, and the courage to face the unknown. And so, the humans continued their journey. Stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of promise, mystery, and adventure. The galaxy was vast, but humans had found their place within it. They would continue to explore, learn, and inspire, and in doing so, they would shape the future of the cosmos in ways that no one could yet imagine. The stars shone brighter that night, reflecting the bold spirit of a small species from Earth. The humans had arrived, fully recognized, fully respected, and they did not even blink. Humanity had entered the Galactic Empire, and the universe had taken notice.